Hi everybody, I'm Antoine, Huvelle, functional consultant at Odoo. Today's talk will be about Sepa. We are going to see two different things in Odoo. One which was already available in version 9 and 10, which is a Sepa credit transfer, and the second one we just released now on SAS 18, and so will be available also on version 11, which is a the Sepa direct debit. So here is the agenda. Mainly, I will focus on a demo of those two payment mechanism. The slides cover the different processes, but I will skip lots of the slides because I think the most interesting part to cover in 20 minutes is really what's happening inside the software. So the SEPA, you know that is, well, the term SEPA stands for the Single Euro Payment Area. So it means different things, in fact. It's the area itself. It's also a format of file that is exchanged between banks. And also for us, it's a format or different formats of XML files that are sent to the bank. Okay. As I said, we have two different files, one which is a credit transfer, another one that is a direct debit. The focus is different because on the credit transfer, the idea is to generate the supply of payments. On the other side, it's about the customer's payment. And you can see that there are slight differences in terms of specifications and in terms of the documents we use. In the end, we anyway receive an XML file, but you will see that for the direct debit, it's a bit more, I won't say complicated, but there is another step, which is getting a mandate signed by your client. Okay, so the advantages are obvious. I'm just using 5 times faster, but it's maybe much more. It's just an idea like that. You will see why it is really faster to perform your payments that way. The idea of SEPA is that when the bank receives the file, they have to perform to process it and receive the payments in one business day. And it's supported really by a lot of different countries across Europe, as you can see here. Okay, so let's dive into the demo itself. You will see here, I will quickly show that we have processes for both SEPA direct debit and credit, so that if you want, you can have a look at the slides later. But on my side, I will go back on my database. And here you will see I just have installed the accounting. I don't have anything else, but of course it will work perfectly integrated with the other apps. It's just about invoicing and payment that we have. What I did is that I created different customers here, and I created also 2 different suppliers. The thing is that if you want to install SEPA direct debit and credit transfer, it's not a whole package. Those are 2 different modules, so you can use one first and maybe use the second one. You can go into the accounting configuration, and here what you have is that if you type SEPA, you can see that you have the 2 different boxes here, which are used for installing the modules. I will start with the credit transfer, which is maybe the, let's say, easiest one. You have a name identification. Here, usually, it can be the VAT of your company. I will type here whatever. I think there is no control on this field. We'll see there is on the field regarding the SEPA direct debit. I save this, and in fact, it's quite easy to use because right away I can have a look at my journals. And here I will use my bank journal, and I will say that on that bank journal, I want to work with the different payment methods related to SEPA. And you see, I will maybe change that bank journal name. Usually that's why I use this IBAN generator, so that I already have an IBAN account that I can use directly. What is really important with the SEPA is that you have to define only IBAN bank accounts. So if you use different type of bank accounts, Odoo will give you an error because it expects to have an IBAN bank account. So here I will create it as well. And also the bank you are using needs to have a BIC code. So here I think my Barclays bank doesn't have one. I will create one, a fake one. And I keep this that way. And in my advanced settings, you can see that here I have different debit methods and payment methods, and I can select here that I want to enable the SEPA direct debit and here the SEPA credit transfer. Of course, if you don't check those boxes when you are going to generate a payment, you won't have the ability to, for that payment, select the SEPA direct debit or credit transfer. Okay, So here, I just configured my journal. I think I'm fine with that. We will check this in a moment. The Sepa credit transfer is about having the payments generated for your vendor bills. So I will create two different vendor bills. I create my product. I validate this bill, and I will duplicate it and validate another one. It's for the same supplier, but I could use many different suppliers. It's not a problem. You will get in the end only one file to send to your bank. Okay. Once I have those two vendor bills, I can generate a SEPA payment. You can do it from here, from the register payment button, or you can go into the purchase side of the accounting, go on the payment, and create a new payment in draft for that vendor. On my side, I will take the easy option. And here you see that if you select the journal linked to the SEPA payments, here you have the ability to select SEPA credit transfer. Automatically, it will ask you, okay, you are going to pay that supplier, but on which bank account? Here I already pre-entered a bank account for that supplier, so that's why it's proposing this bank account, but you can have many ones, many different ones for that supplier. I validate this one. I will also register a payment for the second invoice of the same supplier, same account. Until now, you can see that my invoice is marked as paid, but of course, nothing left here Odoo. We are still, we didn't send anything to our bank. You have just two invoices that are now marked as paid, but you have to generate the XML file with the payments that you will send to your bank. And this information can be found here in the payments, where you can see that you have two payments with the payment method type being SEPA credit transfer. You can select those ones, and if those are among different payments methods, you can make a filter just to select the ones that are marked as SEPA credit transfer and that are not yet sent. You will see that there is a notion of status. Here, at the moment it's posted, it means it's already in your accounting, okay, but it's not yet sent to the bank. Under the action menu, you have the ability to here generate the SEPA credit transfer XML. And it's telling me, okay, once you have generated that file, you have to upload it to your bank, and the bank knows what to do with it. Okay, you have the file that is here, and of course, if I save that, I can open it right here. It's a SEPA file that follows the XSD here, pane 113. Okay, with all the information my bank needs for performing that payment. And here I can close then this window, and you can see, and that's really important, that now my payments are sent. So if you want to track the payments in Odoo, sometimes I hear like, well, you have the payments already in Odoo, so maybe you would miss it. You would miss the fact that you need to send this to your bank. Well, that's true if you don't pay enough attention, but you can create a filter for yourself that would be, let's manage all the payment methods that are not yet in status sent, so that you know that you have to generate those payment files and send those to the bank. Okay. So that was for the supplier side, so for the SEPA credit transfer. Let's have a look at the other side. I said it was a bit more complex. It's a wrong word for that. It's just because we have the idea of generating a mandate. Here, the idea with the supplier is quite easy. You initiate the payment, so you don't have to ask the agreement of anyone, just that your bank will check if you have enough funds on your account, and then will transfer it eventually. Now with the customer, you initiate a demand of payment, and so that's completely different because your bank needs to have the agreement, explicit consent of your client, and this is a bit different. That's why you need to have a mandate that is signed by your customer. You will send it to your bank, and your bank will ask the other bank to make this being validated by their customer, so that there is an agreement also between the banks. And then once you have this agreement, you have the ability to directly send the payment. Let's have a look at, yeah. Yes, I will show that. So here, the only thing you need to configure is a creditor identifier. This is usually given by your bank. So once you have enabled on their side the ID that you want to use those Sepa direct debits, you have just a number that you will receive from your bank. Here I will also use one number that is here in my slides. Yeah, that's the one. It's one for Sweden, but anyway, I at least can use it. There is a structure check, so if I miss it, if I'm not entering a correct number, I will get an error from Odoo. So that's why I'm using this one. I'm saving this. Now let's go on the customer side, and you see that since I have installed the Sepa direct debit, I have now a new direct debit mandate that is here, and I will manage all the mandates I have with my different customers. Here's the first time I'm creating a mandate, so I have none yet in my list. Odoo generates automatically a unique identifier, and I need to say, okay, for who this identifier is, I will select Grizzly. I select their account on which the mandate would be valid. I specify the journal I want to use, and then I say, okay, the starting date is starting of October, and I will send this document to my client. So this document, usually you print it, you send it, you have the approval, the signature of your client. So I will print the document here, and as you know, since V11, we have the ability here for the first print that you create, the first printed document, you have to give some information about your company, and also you have to select the format you want. I will type in here just some information, yeah, okay, and I will select this one. Let's save. No, I can print again. Yeah, I think I'm missing some information then, because otherwise I would be able to print it. Okay. Sorry? I don't know if it's not maybe the image, I'm not sure. I think there's something like that. Let's select here. Yeah, that's it. In fact, you need to upload the image also so that your company has a logo that will be printed on the document. Maybe it could be said a bit more explicitly. So here I'm generating the Sepa file. It seems like it should be a bit faster to be generated. Oh, you could do that. That's true. That's a missing button, a missing feature. Let's say we could have the ability to send this by email as well. The only thing is that maybe, and I will talk about that regarding the e-sign capability in Odoo. Maybe there could be regulation problems with the fact that it is not signed, but it's half a problem because in the end, the real signature, the real agreement that you have is between the banks, as the bank of the customer will anyway ask his client, do you agree with that mandate? So that's true. We could add this, like send by email, so that we would send it and receive the answer from our client. That's a good idea. So I received the mandate here. Okay, you have all the fields needed, and you could compare that. I think I had another file that's from Allianz. Oops, just need to, in my comments, you see I have lots of different documents. There is one from Allianz, and you will see if I have an internet connection, but I think I have, yeah. So this is the kind of document that you receive, and you have all the fields, and we have the same ones, it's just displayed differently. I must say that the one of Allianz is really nice. The only thing is that here, we on our side just show the information. If you want to add your logo, your own colors, of course, you know that you can change that with the QWeb views. Okay. So once it is sent and it is printed by your client, you can try to validate the mandate, but it will tell you, okay, please attach that document on Odoo, so that at least I have it here. Okay, so I will upload the file right here. I select my mandate, I save, and now I can validate. So I have a valid mandate. It's a valid on your side, but usually, of course, here I do it quite quickly. You can see that I didn't connect to my e-banking system, waiting for the answer of my client. But you have to imagine that, of course, behind the scenes, you should have some discussion with your bank for receiving the creditor identification and for waiting here that it is really validated by the bank of the customer. Okay. Now we have a valid mandate in Odoo, and so it will have implications on an invoice that would be validated for this customer. So let's see that. If I go on my customer invoice here, I create a new invoice for Grizzly, so same partner as on my mandate, same product. I validate the invoice. I duplicate it so that I have two invoices. So as usual, same stream, you can also send by email or print the invoice. And you can see that here, surprise, the invoice is marked as paid. That's really important. Odoo detected that you have a mandate, and so it marked it automatically as paid because there is a payment that has been generated next to the invoice in Odoo, and so we matched the payment and the invoice. But it doesn't mean, of course, that you receive the money on your bank account. It's just marked as paid in Odoo, and same story as on the supplier. You will have here all the payments that would be waiting to be sent to your bank. So same idea, we go in the payments, we select the one we want, knowing that you can again use a filter based on the payment type and the status. And here I can click on Actions, Generate Direct Debit XML for a specific collection date. And here you have the generated file, and it's with a summary of all the payments that will be inside the file. You can download it here. I will just quickly show it, but it's not really some kind of format we humans are used to read, so I will quickly close it as well. This is a file that you send to your bank, and here, if I want to regenerate those payments, you will see that, by the way, the status is posted. You can see that on the right. If I want to regenerate here the debits, I have no file to download because it's telling me it's an exception. We know that it has already been sent. I don't want to charge twice my customer. Anyway, we have here the ability to, well, when you are in debug mode, I will open a second window. When you are in debug mode, you have the ability to re-download the XML files that you have been sending. So if you want to keep track of the history, of course, you have it. Not only your bank has it, but you have it. So let's go in debug, and I will show you that. SD payment files, you have them there, okay? And you see also the ones about the SCT. So that's the first step. Here we have covered the two different XML files that you could send, one for the customers, one for the suppliers. But then I told you that we need to keep track of if we receive the payments really for real in our bank account. And so you know that in Odoo, you do that by using the reconciliation. You will receive the bank statement from the bank, and then you will match the bank statement with the payments that you have in Odoo. Let's go into the dashboard. And here for my bank account, of course I use the same bank account here. I will create a new statement. Let's say I had 2,000 euros at the beginning. I think I kept easy numbers, but maybe I will mess things up, but I think it's quite good here. It was Amazon, I think, and I had two payments of 500, so that should do it. And then I have my my customer. Here I'm regrouping the payments, so it means that I'm paying once my Amazon supplier, even though maybe I would maybe receive two lines of 500 rather than one line of 1,000. Here it's for going a bit faster, but you know that it would be exactly the same. And here I will say that I received not 2,000 euros, but just 1,000 euros from my customer, and we will see how we can then track the fact that we didn't receive the money on our bank account. Okay, so let's save that. Let's click on reconcile, and when I click on reconcile here, you can see that we have, if you are familiar with this reconciliation window, you know that we have blue lines that are used for bank reconciliation, while the other ones are made for the payment matching. So here for the supplier, I will enter those two lines, and here for my customer, I can enter one of the two invoices I had. So here what is important to understand is that in Odoo you really had the invoice, you had the payment, and now we are reconciling the payment with what we received from our bank. So that's here where we are saying, okay, we really received the money on our bank account. Okay, I reconcile this. Okay, let's select this one as well. You know that we now have a wonderful rainbow when we do such things. And here I could be validating my bank statement. So I should still have the same amount. I can close it. And so in my accounting dashboard now, here's where you would track the difference between what you have as payments in Odoo and what you really received in your bank. This is the difference. And you know that here you can see all the differences that could happen between your GL account for your bank and the bank account that you have at your bank. So that's where you would see that, okay, I'm expecting another payment from my customer. I didn't receive it. And that's the one that I didn't receive from my customer. Okay, so yeah, won't be able to use the slides as I lost the connection, not full screen at least. So we saw the reconciliation just right now, and the real thing that you need to keep in mind is that it makes it faster for you to process all the payments for your clients. Here, of course, there was a lot of explanation, but it goes much faster once you have set everything up. And yeah, and you can also, of course, keep track of the reception on your bank account as well. So this is it, but of course, I'm open for any questions or remarks. Yeah.